What's going on, everyone? The Ben Simmons experiment with the Brooklyn Nets has not gone according to plan. They ended up trading James Harden for Ben Simmons, and the hopes that he would be a better fit, right? A guy that could play defense. Philly Ben Simmons was an excellent player, one of the best on-ball, if not the best on-ball defenders in the league. He still is pretty solid defensively, but he just lacks that confidence, right? He's been constantly dealing with some injuries, just nagging injuries. Many people in the organization, based on reports yesterday, that Ben Simmons doesn't have like the confidence. They don't believe that he is fully bought into basketball, and he's had to come out and defend himself on numerous occasions, and even has said, like, I'm not faking these injuries. These injuries are legit, and nonetheless, it's just been this absolute mess for the Brooklyn Nets and Ben Simmons. And Ben Simmons seems essentially unmovable, right? If the Brooklyn Nets tried to get rid of Ben Simmons with his contract and just his production, there's just no way that they'd be able to unload him. And it's not just Ben Simmons, right? The Brooklyn Nets as a whole are an absolute mess. Kyrie is supposed to be coming back maybe Sunday. It looks like the Players Association has stepped in and basically said, like, hey, we're not doing this. Kyrie needs to play. You need to play Kyrie Irving. So they got to figure that out. Kevin Durant is throwing his teammates under the bus. He is right around the corner from probably requesting another trade again. Brooklyn has fallen apart, and there's not really any way for Brooklyn to get off of the sinking ship. They try to trade Kevin Durant. No team is going to give them the value of Kevin Durant because Kevin Durant wants out. Brooklyn is an absolute mess, and teams know that. So teams aren't going to sell the farm to go get Kevin Durant. Not just that, but his age, injury history. Yes, he's locked up for several years, but he's just had such a heavy workload. Is he going to be able to be this same player 2-3 years from now? Is that something that he's going to be, or is he going to start falling off? Injuries continuing to be an issue. Again, Ben Simmons seems utterly untradeable. Just he's unplayable. I mean, they're literally trying to bring him off the bench in hopes that that will make him better productive, much like the Lakers did with Russell Westbrook, Kyrie. These three are the most, unreliable players in the league right now. And it's something that I said during the offseason. I said that the Lakers, they get Kyrie, they give up the assets and the picks, and Brooklyn should do it, because if they don't do it, what's going to happen is the team is going to be a bad day away from imploding. And guess what? That day came. They are imploding, and it just continues to get worse and be in the headlines. But Eric Pincus actually proposed a solution that I thought was pretty interesting. And of course, I wanted to hear your thoughts and opinions on it. And it is the whole Brooklyn Nets Lakers trade. So we all know the whole, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant for Russell Westbrook and Anthony Davis. Now, from a Lakers perspective and a Brooklyn perspective, it actually does make a lot of sense. Look, Kyrie Irving and Russell Westbrook swap actually solves a lot of problems for both teams, right? Like, Kyrie is a perfect fit for the Lakers, but Russell Westbrook might be a perfect fit for the Nets, not counting Ben Simmons. But Ben Simmons is a whole nother problem in and of itself. And Anthony Davis for Kevin Durant, they could do worse, right? That's a whole thing. And we've seen this trade specifically sort of gain a lot of traction, and a lot of people think that this is something that could be viable because it really kind of solves both teams' problems, right? Like, Lakers have the defense, they don't really have the scoring. The Brooklyn Nets don't really have the defense, but they have the scoring and the shooters. Well, Anthony Davis and Russell Westbrook would provide that defense and put a bunch of shooters around those guys. And then you have LeBron James and a bunch of young guys that are willing to run and play defense and do the dirty work. Now you got your two scorers in Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. Problem is, I don't think the Lakers want to trade for Kyrie Irving. Now, if Kyrie Irving gets bought out, well, then that's one thing. But to acquire Kevin Durant, I think the Lakers would do that in a heartbeat. And what the proposition was to kind of fix everybody's problems is, instead of Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant for Russell Westbrook and Anthony Davis, what if it was Kevin Durant and Ben Simmons for Russell Westbrook and Anthony Davis? Now, this could really be a problem solver for both teams. One, yes, you're losing Kevin Durant, but you're also getting Anthony Davis. Not only that, but you're giving up Ben Simmons and his, long-term salary, unplayability, and just the issues of trying to find a trade if you can't fix him. You would basically have to give up probably 4 firsts just to unload him. But the Lakers are in a very unique situation, right? The Lakers want to be better. They want to compete. They want to, maximize LeBron James as much as possible. Now, Ben Simmons doesn't do that. But a few things about that. If the Brooklyn Nets were to trade Kevin Durant and Ben Simmons to the Lakers, they have no need for Kyrie Irving. So then they would buy out Kyrie Irving, and the Lakers would get Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and Ben Simmons. Now, again, you might think like, wait, what? Like, hold on a second. But seriously, think about this for a second, right? If you're Brooklyn, that solves all of your issues, right? If Kyrie leaves after this year, you get nothing because you have no salary cap to go and get new players to replace Kyrie Irving. You're maxed out, right? And then you go and make a trade to unload Ben Simmons for Russell Westbrook. Well, now you just cleared Kyrie's salary and you cleared Ben Simmons' salary. The only long-term salary that you really have is Anthony Davis. If Russell Westbrook works great with this team, then you could re-sign Russell Westbrook for a reasonable contract. But you just basically have Anthony Davis and, a couple role guys. You do have Joe Harris on a contract, but they're trying to move Joe Harris. Maybe you can move off of Joe Harris, and then in that case, boom, you're good. Or maybe you could even work out a deal to have the Lakers take Joe Harris too. Maybe you take, Patrick Beverley and Kendrick Nunn, right? So maybe you do Patrick Beverley, Kendrick Nunn, Russell Westbrook, and Anthony Davis for Joe Harris, Kevin Durant, and Ben Simmons. Right there, you solve all of your salary space, all of your salary issues. You get 2 first-round picks from the Lakers. You get Anthony Davis and Russell Westbrook, who again fit perfectly around this team, right? So you're getting the same production. You're probably just as good, if not better. But even if you're not that good this year, it's not the end of the world, because here's the thing. Brooklyn, they have a pick swap with Houston. Houston is so bad this year, you might not have to worry about that, right? You just have to be better than Houston. As long as you are better than Houston, then you're going to get your first round pick this year. So even if they aren't a contender, you still get your first. You still may be able to get a quality asset, or you could trade Anthony Davis and then just fully hit the reset button, get a bunch of assets for Anthony Davis, and now you have clean books entirely. So you're essentially hitting the total reset button. There is not another team in the league that could do this for the Brooklyn Nets. And that's why I think it's really interesting. Now, do I think that this will happen? Absolutely not. I think it sounds great. I think it sounds perfect. I think if you're Brooklyn and the Lakers would really do this, I think you do this. Because you get Anthony Davis, you get Russell Westbrook to put around a bunch of shooters, right? So I think you would still be really good, if not maybe arguably better. And you have a more reliable guy in Russell Westbrook. Anthony Davis and his injury history is a bit of a concern, but still, like, you clear all your cap space, everything. You're good. You get some draft picks, you get some assets, but you move off of Ben Simmons. And if you're the Lakers, yes, you're taking on Ben Simmons, but you're getting Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant for doing so, right? Like, that's your consolation prize. You get Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and you get LeBron James. But now you have Ben Simmons, and if anybody could get Ben Simmons to work again, I would think it's LeBron James. I mean, Ben Simmons was compared and has been compared his entire career to LeBron James. That big, solid guy with length and size that could play point guard, do all this stuff. Like, you'd be good. You hopefully, best case scenario is you get Philly Ben Simmons back. Now you have LeBron James, you have Kyrie Irving, you have Kevin Durant, and you have Ben Simmons with all your other role guys. And if Ben Simmons can kind of regain that fire, then you're in a good spot. The only concern I'd have with the Lakers is the lack of center, right? Now you're really relying on Thomas Bryant and Damian Jones, but you have Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and LeBron James. And hopefully Ben Simmons can just get back to being, semi decent. He's going to help you defensively, right? So at least you have a solid player that you could run the defense through. And you can even run your offense through. He just is so petrified of shooting the ball. But you're basically taking on Ben Simmons and Kevin Durant, and then they buy out Kyrie Irving. Now you get Kyrie Irving, and now you have those three to add to LeBron James and the rest of the team. I think you could do worse. And if you're the Lakers, I think this is something you really have to consider. Really have to consider. The only problem is now you're dealing with all of the chaos that the Brooklyn Nets had to deal with. But your hope is you have LeBron James as like the ultimate mediator, right? Kevin Durant and LeBron James could kind of be your go-tos to kind of keep things in control. And LeBron is more of a vocal leader than Kevin Durant is. And Kyrie Irving has so much respect for LeBron James and just really values Kevin Durant, right? Plus, he wants to be a Laker. Plus, he's obsession with Kobe Bryant. So I would imagine that Kyrie Irving would be on his best behavior. Ben Simmons, right? With this team, LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, you could let Ben Simmons for a majority of this season kind of just go get right? Like if you're the Lakers, you could kind of just be like, okay, if you're really dealing with injuries, just rest, get better, because you're going to be good enough with Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and LeBron James, as long as everyone's healthy, and kind of just let Ben Simmons get himself right. And then hopefully when he comes back, he can kind of get into the flow of the game, even to some degree, right? And then you have him as like your backup ball handler, alleviant of LeBron James. Now, also what I would do in this case, because you would basically be swapping 4 players for 3, so you'd have a roster spot, I would go get Hassan Whiteside, right? So your starting 5 would essentially probably, my guess would be like Kyrie Irving, Walker, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, and Hassan Whiteside. That would be my starting 5. Because then Hassan Whiteside at least provides rebounding and shot blocking, which you would need. And, if he can kind of be a better locker room guy than he's known for being, then that would really help. He maybe kind of swallowed a piece of humble pie because he still doesn't have a team. But I would go get Hassan Whiteside because he would be a perfect complement next to Kyrie, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, and then Walker. So that would basically be your starting 5. You have Walker for your wing defense. Kevin Durant can play defense. LeBron, we've seen, can play defense in spots if we need him to. You got your shot blocker and rebounder in Hassan Whiteside. There you go. And then you have a bench of Dennis Schroeder, Austin Reeves, Troy Brown, Winning Gabriel, Thomas Bryant. That's one of the best teams in the league, if not the best team in the league. Like, you would be really good. You'd be 10 plus guys deep. Oh, and you'd still have Ben Simmons to kind of fill in. If he doesn't work, then it sucks. You're eating his salary, but you got Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and LeBron James for the next, however many years. Like, that's not a bad spot to be in. Not a bad spot to be in at all. I don't know. Again, if you're the Lakers, I think you got to consider it. I think you got to at least look into it. And then maybe if you can get Ben Simmons to get right again, maybe you could trade Ben Simmons, or worst case, you keep him around. And if he does get back to Philly Ben Simmons, well, then that's just another asset, and that's another piece post LeBron James that you could probably build around and use. So not just that, but by the time this team runs its course, Ben Simmons and everybody's going to be gone anyway. So the timeline kind of fits. I don't know. I don't think this would ever happen. I don't think it's a real possibility. I mean, never say never. You never know. But if this was something that was put on the table, I think you got to take it if you're the Lakers. I think you take the gamble. Because what else are you doing? Like what else? What is your other alternatives? You know, Kevin Durant and LeBron James by themselves might be good enough to win a championship, right? And then you add Kyrie Irving, I think you're a legit contender. And then Ben Simmons and the rest of the role guys, there you go. I mean, you still have trouble, you still have size issues, and you still have, some shooting issues, but Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving are going to make up for a lot of that. A lot of that. You just need the rest of your guys to be semi-serviceable, right? Like just shoot 30%, 25% from from three. That's all we need you because we got Kevin Durant and we got Kyrie Irving to do the heavy lifting, right? You got your scoring. You still have guys like Walker who've been great for you, Troy Brown who's been great for you. I don't know. I would really consider it. And then especially if you could get Joe Harris, right? If you could get Joe Harris, then there you go. You can work something like that. Kyrie, because I know some people are going to say, well, like, how do you sign Kyrie? You'd still have some salary space, and Kyrie's not going to get a max anywhere. And is he really going to leave LA with Kevin Durant, LeBron James in Los Angeles, the one place that wants him, the one place he wants to be? You probably are signing him for like a 1-year deal on like, whatever, $15 million or whatever you have left. And then LeBron James, his contract expires, and then you can make a decision from there. Like, is LeBron going to stay and try to write it out? At that point, he could take a pay cut if he wants to make sure Kyrie stays, whatever. You figure it out. But I think that this is a deal that the Lakers really have to look at if it was ever something on the table. Again, it was just something thrown out that I saw by Eric Pincus, and I was like, hey, like this is pretty interesting. I didn't actually think of like this, granted, it was just Ben Simmons and Kevin Durant. I added the Kyrie part because you have no reason to keep Kyrie Irving if you trade Kevin Durant and Ben Simmons. So at that point, you might as well buy out Kyrie and, or go get him or go trade him. But the only team that's probably going to trade for him are teams that are willing to do the Russell Westbrook thing, which at that point, if you do the Lakers trade, you're not trying to take a long-term salary. You're trying to clear salary. So just buy out Kyrie and all is right in the world. Save yourself $10 million and then let Kyrie go to the Lakers because at that point you blew it up. Who cares? And there you go. So the Lakers could literally land Kyrie, Kevin Durant, Ben Simmons for Russell Westbrook, Anthony Davis. And then if you want to get a shooter in like Joe Harris, then go take Patrick Beverley, Kendrick Nunn, flip them into Joe Harris. If not, then you keep them. And maybe you could package them. The problem is you'd probably have to give up both first in this deal. So I don't know what other deal you could make at that point. Maybe you could go find like a cheap center. Maybe like the Spurs would trade Jakob Poeltl for Beverly and, or Kendrick Nunn in like a couple seconds or a pick swap or something. Because at that point, you're trying to go all in. At that point, trade whatever you have left because this is your team for the next 4 years. Right? 3-4 years. So you might as well just go all in. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. What did you think of this? If you were the Lakers, would you do this? Would you not do this? Are you like, no, too much drama, too much chaos, stay away, which I do understand. I do get that. But if you have an opportunity to pair Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving with LeBron James, wouldn't you take a chance of taking Ben Simmons? Worst case, he's basically, the Nets Ben Simmons, and you're eating a bad contract to be a contender for the next 3-4 years. I don't think that's a bad deal. Best case scenario is LeBron James can get him right, and if LeBron James can get him right, then you could probably win several championships. Right? Imagine having Ben Simmons as your sixth man off the bench, putting up like a damn near a triple double. Like, it's pretty good. Pretty good. But again, love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Let me know. Good, bad, ugly, somewhere in between down in the comment section below.